I'm not a lawyer, but if you've been wanting a refresher on the YSL RICO case, this might be the video for you. So day 110 of the YSL RICO trial ended with Kenneth Copeland and the jurors being sent home early so that Copeland could connect with his new attorney. The judge and the attorneys stay back to see what else they could tackle before going home, and the issue of a PowerPoint comes up. Context is, last week, Brian Steele submitted a motion in limine to have a PowerPoint that the state is trying to use excluded from the trial. And the thing behind this PowerPoint is that it's basically the state's whole theory on this case. Before I get into it, here's Brian Steele arguing why the PowerPoint is inadmissible.
I just don't see the admissibility. It's basically a closing argument. That's really the summary as I would give it. It is something that the state would, over objection, use in their closing argument, but for evidence coming in through a supposed gang expert. There are things, Mr. Williams' home was illegally searched on the July 15, 2015 date. They have slides in there referencing that. They have slides on information that has not come into this trial on supposed investigation and corroboration by law enforcement. I've never seen a corroboration. It's just like a trial by a theory, and I'm objecting to the entirety of it.
Your Honor, the presentation is meant as an aid for the jury to assist them or allow them to see how it is that Detective Dennis reached the conclusions that we expect will testify about in this case.
This appears to me to have maybe originally been some sort of a law enforcement briefing. Is that what this was? I mean, I'm just looking at one right now. It's, I think, slide number 36. It's got a lot of pictures, and it says, a rap dispute between Lil Wayne and Birdman spilled over into Atlanta once rapper and YSL 30 Deep leader Young Thug got involved. I mean, how is that not totally conclusory and something that maybe this jury is supposed to be deciding?
Okay, I gave you enough setup, so let's get into what's in the actual PowerPoint to explain the state's theory. A lot of what's in this PowerPoint has also been referenced while Woody is on the stand, so a lot of it may feel familiar because you've heard them ask him questions about it, even when he doesn't recall. I did a live with my Patreon to go over this, so that's where these clips are coming from. And also, I'm just reading through the PowerPoint. So even if I'm not saying allegedly, it's all allegedly. There was a moment in which they talked about a PowerPoint. This is the PowerPoint. This is basically the state's theory on the whole case, okay? This is Atlanta Police Department's investigation into this case. So it says in January 2015, a gang war began between two rival gangs, YSL, 30 Deep, / IF, right? Or Inglewood Family Bloods. You got Rich Homie Quan, you got Jeffrey Williams. Several incidents occurred between the two gangs to start 2015 after the split of Duo Rich Gang, which we know Rich Gang was Jeffrey Williams and Rich Homie Quan when they had come together to make the music. An issue, a split, what started this is according to APD. The incident started as rap related, but quickly became gang related. And that, of course, is Donovan Thomas over here. The beef between Woody and Shell Kell is what fueled the ongoing beef. To APD's gang unit knowledge, one of the first documented incidents occurred at a gambling house, which you just heard her talking about the gambling house. This is the first known incident that kind of fueled this beef. During this incident, several shots were fired. January 6th, and it's important to start paying attention to dates, okay? So January 6th, 2015, Woody was assaulted while flashing a large sum of cash in club. It was crucial. And so he was assaulted by Shell Kell and other IF gang members. The incident escalated the ongoing feud. So we've heard him testify about this before, where he said he was at Crucial. He was flashing his money because that's what he do. Hit him on the back of the head. They start beating him up. And then they went outside and Bloody J was out there. That story they were just telling, that is this incident. So this is January 6th, 2015. It's discovered through APD's investigation, January 7th, the very next day, a studio, TIG Studios, which is frequented by IF gang members. So this is the people who beat up Woody. This is their studio. Think it's a game. TIG is think it's a game. So there is a drive-by shooting at this studio the very next day after Kenneth Copeland is jumped essentially at Crucial. And then it says, through statements obtained through other suspects, it was learned the shooter in this incident was Kenneth Copeland. So he's the one who did this, right? On the 10th, 3 days later, Donovan Thomas is shot and killed in a drive-by shooting that we all know. Peanut was a high-ranking IF gang blood member, said to be number 4 ranked blood member in the state of Georgia. We're following this timeline. Immediately after Peanut's death, social media started speaking about his death and the retaliation that was expected. So let's start reading the comments. The big homie sent the word out from behind G-Wall, and then they tag Woody. You see at Woody372 and at Young Thug's Instagram, y'all on the menu. So Thomas gets killed, and immediately they're tagging Woody and tagging Thug and saying y'all on the menu. This other one at the bottom in the middle. This is Bloody J. Bloody J is the one that they've been talking about. And then that last comment, Death to Snake, it says, F you, need answers. Big guns give you answers. And who do they tag? Thug. And then it says Thug and Woody is food. Y'all following? And then over here, it says retaliation is a must. It's where it needs to be some MFs die before my little bro hit the dirt. So this happens on the 10th. When Thomas dies. The day after Thomas's murder, Jeffrey Williams funded a trip for those members. Everybody goes to Miami. We've heard them talk about this. During several interviews, it was said that Williams wanted to get his people out of Atlanta. And then this says Peanut's funeral was treated as if he was royalty. Over 2,000 people showed up. So this is his funeral. IF gang members began to make direct threats toward Copeland, Jeffrey Williams, and other YSL members, right? You know, you set that man up or know who did it because his team jumped on one of your teammates. That's how this is started. He was trying to squash it, but your FS set him up, rolled by the barber shop and killed him. So you, meaning Thug, and Birdman, stop posting fake ass rip pic of a real nigga, rip nut. And then let's keep going. Immediately after the murder of Thomas, there were 8 drive-by shootings directed toward YSL and the other gang members and their families. Police recovered over 300 shell casings of numerous calibers of weapons, including high-power assault rifles. Okay, so obviously this is just pictures of that. I don't understand how people just be in a kitchen with big-ass guns. Initially, it was believed that it was IF gang shooting at YSL, but we soon learned that it was an all-out war as YSL members began to target IF gang members and their families as well. Okay, and so this is the setup. We've heard this testimony, right? Donovan Thomas is on the left. There's a man named Greedy, Marquavius Curtis. Nut and Greedy have the same father. Greedy and Shell Kell have the same mother. So even though Donovan Thomas and Shell Kell are not directly related, because Donovan Thomas's half brother has another half brother, which is Shell Kell, they basically call each other family, but they don't have any actual parents that are in line. So here you have Woody having a beef with Shell Kell, who's half brother-ish, not same parent, but kinda, because they have this shared brother. Donovan Thomas, who is a big name in IF gang, number 4 ranking. So he comes with the power of the gang behind him. This is their actual point. They just haven't done a good job of showing it because their witnesses aren't cooperating, but this is what they're trying to get across. Okay, so then more pictures of, this is the pictures of the brothers, essentially, and like their people. And you see YF and Lucci, and it says Lucci is a rap artist that Peanut has managed since the beginning of his career. Funded by Thomas, Lucci's rap career has been able to turn illegal money to a legitimate business. And then on January 22nd, okay, so this is after some of these shootings are happening, right? The first of 2 shootings occurred at 1006 Hill Street, which is the home of Rayshawn Lucci Bennett's mother. Here it is, January 22nd, suspect vehicle fired at the home of Rayshawn Bennett, which is Lucci's mom's house. According to witnesses, a second vehicle was shooting back at the suspects. So Baines, Watts, and Hardiman, so these 3, were stopped with 3 weapons and only 2 suspects were charged. Kelvin Watts, pled to the guns in state court, and then the other one was charged federally and then changed his plea, and then gunshot residue came back to Baines and Watts. So what happens after that, though, is according to Woody, he felt in one of his statements, he felt it was safe to go out as he believed Kelvin Watts was in jail. So because they got caught, he thought that they were in jail. He did not know that Watts had bonded out of Fulton County Jail. February 10th, 2015, Woody and his brother were followed, we've heard this testimony, by another car as they left a hotel party downtown. Once they exited the highway at University, shots were fired into their vehicle. The next morning, an Instagram post confirmed that Haiti Gang, which is a subset of IF, carried out the shooting. And so you can see here, this is IF, this is the post. Big shootout on the highway, Savage hanging out the window, letting it ride sideways. And then here you go. Lucci's mother and her boyfriend were shot. So here you go. And then what is this? 5 days later, because that was the 22nd. So January 27th, Trevante Turner was shot. He is an associate of YSL. And if that name is familiar, it's because that is the name that Woody brought up in his testimony this week. The very next day, a drive-by shooting at 2905 Springdale Road. Ballistics shows that this incident has matching shell cases to 2 other shootings. So at this point, they're able to start matching some of the shell casings. So people who shot a week ago, these are the same shell casings that shot on this day. On February 10th, while driving through YSL territory, he gets shot. He was arrested for a probation violation the same night. So in retaliation of Shelkel being shot, a drive-by shooting occurred at Hendricks Avenue, which is the residence of Kenneth Copeland's brother that same night. They've talked about his brother, his house getting shot up. February 19th, more shots fired. Kenneth Copeland, his girlfriend, we know this story. Kenneth Copeland, his girlfriend, and their infant child were victims of a drive-by shooting. Copeland returned fire, causing the suspects to crash. So we know about that. Him and his baby mama, they was walking out the house. Baby was screaming, headed to the hospital. They come shooting and he shoots back, hides his kid. So that happens after Shelkel had been shot. U.S. Marshals executed an arrest warrant, which is the home of If Gang, Haiti Gang member Darren Mills, who is over here. A search warrant was executed and these items were recovered. So they execute this search warrant and they get a bunch of bullets and some big guns and some license plates. Tariq Rivers was shot and killed on April 2nd, 2015. He was a YSL member and his murder is still unsolved. And then we know this story on April 12th. Dexter Montgomery was shot in the head with an AR-15 by YSL members at the gas station. And remember who was there? It was Nard and DK were there. He had the big gun. Remember they had the video, him with the big gun. This is that story. So on the 26th of April, you have Lil Wayne's tour bus shooting. Jimmy Whitfree, who we've talked about, is already in jail, or he had a plea to that, which again, they're saying is related. Here they kind of insert that storyline. Rappers Birdman and Young Thug allegedly linked to Lil Wayne's tour bus shooting. And so it says a rap dispute between Lil Wayne and Birdman. They never really say what their dispute is. It just says that it spilled over into Atlanta once YSL member Young Thug got involved. And that's basically Thug gets involved with Birdman because Birdman is beefing with Wayne. When Wayne comes to Atlanta, they're saying YSL and Thug basically, well, Thug wasn't there, but YSL kind of pull up on him basically to defend and kind of, be on the side of Birdman. 428, there's more drive-by shootings. 1, 2, 3, 4 places. 3 YSL members were charged with these incidents. And you see this person in the middle is Quindarius Zachary, who is supposed to be testifying very soon. Antonio Sledge is supposed to be next after Kenneth Copeland and then Quindarius Zachary. And then you've heard a ton about Demekion Garlington. And now you have Kenneth Copeland again. This is the weapon that they talked about Lil D or whatever purchased you a gun. This is that. This is the story they talk about. He was like at a youth center or something and they pulled up in there and got him on a gun he had in his bag. Zachary, this is Lil D, is arrested for weapons possession. Ballistics testing showed that this weapon matches the drive-by shooting at 1006 Hill Street. And if you remember, 1006 Hill Street was wife and Lucci mama's house. So, or Little D is caught with this gun and it matches the one from months ago when Lucci's mama's house got shot up. And now we got Tick, May 17th, drive-by shooting at Macon Drive, which is the residence of Tick's house. So you guys kind of get the point. I don't necessarily have to go through everything. They went through another studio. They get $43,000 in cash, some handguns, and this man, Rico Ritchie, is arrested. This is on July. So we are in July. Remember, this started, the big one was at the end, I think, of 14, but really it's Nuts' death in January. An arrest warrant is executed at Jeffrey Williams' house, and Williams and Randrick Knowlton are arrested for weapons and drug possession. They get 2 rifles, a handgun, cocaine, and some other stuff. So this is Shannon Stillwell. Okay, this is Max Shart's client. On, September 13th, a drive-by shooting at 322 Glen Street, which is the green store that they've talked about. The intended target was Shannon Stillwell. According to a witness, If Gang members were responsible. Jackson fled the scene before police arrived. Jackson was grazed, I think that's supposed to be grazed, on the forehead by gunfire. So he's at the green store, he gets shot. Pope, a couple days later, is shot 8 times and carjacked. Known drug supplier, If Gang. These people are charged with that. Okay, so this one, Tiara Jones, was murdered. And this is really sad because she was giving Shannon Jackson, Shannon Stillwell, Max Shart's client, and his girlfriend, this woman here, this woman was just giving them a ride. and they pulled up and shot at them, and they were trying to get Shannon Stillwell, but she was shot with a high-powered assault rifle. And these three, including Shell Kell, were charged in that murder. September 30th, there is this Magic City strip club. There's an incident with Duke, who is YSL. He gets assaulted by Kelvin Watts, and Duke is a Wrapped on YSL record label. After Arnold was assaulted, so after that incident we just talked about at Magic City, Arnold calls Diamante Kendricks to assist in a retaliatory shooting on IF gang members. So that happens. He gets, Shell Kell jumps him or whatever at Magic City. He then calls Yak Gotti, Diamante Kendrick, to basically retaliate. What happens is police stop them. They attempt to conduct a traffic stop. They run, but when they finally, you see police apprehended both males. So these two run, but then the police eventually catch them, and they recover an assault rifle, handgun, mask, and bandana. And during an interview, it says that Diamante Kendrick confirmed their motive and intent. So there's more. Okay, you guys are kind of getting the point. OG Bentley, we've heard his name before. So these are the evidence. These are the shootings, the homicide. It's kind of all of everything we went through. They just kind of put it in writing and who the people are. And then you go here, and these are the people. And then you got IF gang members down here. You got Shell Kell, obviously, Archillian Bennett, who has testified. This is the war room that was created for the investigation. So this is how APD put together this storyline. They put the people, they put the dates, this is how they built their case. That is the state story. So the state is trying to use it, and the defense said not so fast.